The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com, 11 locations across New England.
Joe Mazzulla is a maniac. We mean that in the nicest possible way. There was a play late in the fourth quarter of this win, lopsided win, over the Phoenix Suns, 127-112. And Mazzulla rushed out on the court during a stoppage in play to contest a Royce O'Neale three-point attempt after the whistle. Royce O'Neale, who had been struggling all night, had not made a single three-pointer, and Joe Mazzulla was hell-bent on making sure he did not make another one. But watching a coach contest a shot is among the most hilarious things you will see at any point in an NBA game. And yet Joe has explained in the past that he will do anything and everything to win a basketball game. And he has told his team that they are not to allow those sort of shots. And to hammer home his point, he contested it. He didn't get the full block, but enough to ensure that Royce O'Neale did not go back to the bench feeling good about himself. And I love everything about this. Welcome to the POSTGAME POD 66. As I said, the Celtics win 127-112, improved to 52-14. They're now 10 games up on Cleveland and Milwaukee. Milwaukee's in action tonight, so I'll have to update that in a little bit. But also up 6 on Denver. Magic numbers shrinking in their quest to both secure the top seed in the Eastern Conference, which they've already done, and to, well, I say which they've already done, meaning as long as the wheels don't come completely off, and to lock up home court for the duration of their playoff stay, including in the NBA Finals, which could be pretty pivotal. But I do want to start. It's weird. In a game that the Jays were fantastic. Al Horford had a monster night. Jrue Holiday had, I think, 10 assists and 0 turnovers. Bench did their usual thing. I want to start with Joe. I just think this is fascinating. I know you see these glimpses of how competitive he is throughout his time here. When we were doing the playoffs last year, I would used to have to get to the arena pretty early to do some hits for our news station, and the assistant coaches who get to the Garden super early would be engaging in their typical daily practice game or pickup game, and Joe would be diving on the floor, taking charges, like just stuff that if you saw it at your local pickup game, you'd be like, why is this dude going all out? It just was this how much Joe wants to win, giving up the body against other coaches just to try to get a turnover or draw a foul or whatever the case may be. And I couldn't help but laugh at times because it's just he's that much into winning. We've seen other instances this season, like a ball will trickle towards the sideline. You know, an opposing player will come over to kind of corral the ball or slow down play or do whatever. And Joe will legitimately try to wrestle it away to the point where I think there's been a couple tug of wars with Joe trying to get the ball and get it back in play quick. I think he mentioned tonight, and you'll hear this coming up. You'll hear Joe talk after this one. Abby also goes one-on-one with Jrue Holiday. But Joe has explained that this wasn't even the first contest he's done this season. It just was one of the first that made it onto the broadcast and certainly got some eyeballs as a national stage for this game. So I love it. I can't. There are little moments that endear you to the coach, and you know I was talking about this on our postgame show. You know, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster for Joe, thrown into a tough situation, but the team starts really good last year. During the rough patches, we obsess about timeout usage, maybe some rotation stuff. He certainly lost sight of the bench at times last season or didn't fully trust the bench. And so you could quibble with little things. But ultimately, for a coach to endear themselves to this region, it comes down to a few things. Usually it's like win a lot of games, you know, standard here in Boston. You gotta live up to that. Have your team compete at the highest level on the biggest stage. And, you know, Joe's gonna still show that after the Celtics bowed in the East Finals last year. But then there's just the idea, and, you know, Brad Stevens used to talk about this when he was coach, the idea that you want a team that Boston can wrap its arms around. And I think not only has Joe position the team that he has now, one overflowing with talent, to be super successful, but the way they play can be endearing. You can quibble all you want about three-pointers. You're not going to hear a peep about that after tonight when the Celtics couldn't miss beyond the three-point arc. But their ability to lock in defensively, the way they approach the game, the focus on the margins, you can see the benefits of why Joe values possessions and taking care of the basketball and rebounding, all the little things. And so, but add to that a coach that is willing to run out on the floor with under 3 minutes to go as Jaylen Brown is celebrating a dunk 40 feet away and posing for the camera to contest the shot, just so that a player who probably, I don't even know if Royce O'Neale came back in the game. I do know he did not ever hit a shot in this game, so at least a three-pointer. So mission accomplished. But I think a lot of people are going to look up and go, man, that's our lunatic right there. And again, I mean that in the nicest possible way. Some people will say maniac, lunatic, and assume there's a negative connotation. No, he's just so hell-bent on winning, and that's all you can ask for from a coach, especially a coach who has been tasked with, banner 18 or bust. So I hope Joe continues to be himself and be crazy out there on the court. All right, let's get into more of our postgame show.
We talked about it at halftime. The Celtics had a 5-point lead. Felt like that everything was looking good offensively. That you look at the rebounding in the second half, and they just kind of ran away with it.
We rebounded the ball. We spanked teams. Like, we're playing such good basketball right now that when we write down keys to the game, like if we rebound and keep low turnovers as good as we are playing right now, we're going to win games. And this is what we saw in the second half. All we had to do was rebound the ball and blow this thing open. Our guys are too talented. We space so well, and we have so much shooting on the floor, you don't know where to put your attention to.
Scout, could you leave me something to say? Because I've been to say everything that you just
My
said.
bad.
No, not like that. I'm not saying it as a diss. I'm saying I'm feeling everything you're saying. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Rebounding the basketball, right? We take care of the basketball. Our spacing on the floor, that's what I've been looking at lately, is our spacing offensively when we get into our offense, whether it is in transition and we don't have it and we attack and we pull it back out, we pass the ball. Everybody's in the right spot. When you set that pick and roll, it's a lot of space. So either somebody's coming off scoring, somebody's coming off making a pass, and then the secondary pass to the hockey pass. So, I mean, when they're playing like this, and it all starts, to me, it's all spearheaded by their defense.
Agreed.
When they're locked in defensively, I feel like they could get whatever they want.
Yeah, and you kind of saw that in the third quarter and even bleeding into the fourth quarter. And then Jaylen Brown taking over in this one, and your game high scoring the basketball. And it also felt like Phoenix was trying to make a run there, maybe early in the fourth, and Jaylen just took over. Made a couple really tough buckets.
Yeah, so Phoenix had to do some desperation things like trap guys way outside and be in rotation. Celtics handle all that stuff. But when you watch Jaylen Brown play in this game, it shows you he could beat you in transition. He could beat you with the catch and shoot off the ball. He could take it to the basket. He could be a primary initiator of the offense. He could post you. He got the fade. He could get you in off the steal. I mean, Jaylen Brown could do it all, and that's what we saw today. That's how he came up with 37.
A three-level scorer, right? Outside, mid-range, at the rim. That's what he can do. And he's a defender, a guy that wants to lock down. He'll go find the guys that's supposed to be the guy. He'll defend those players. It's this, Scal. Think about this, Scal. Somebody he is the highest. He got the highest contract, right?
Yeah.
In NBA history. Now, when you get that, you have a target on your back. The one thing that I love about what Jaylen Brown has done, I think his game has went to another level. Jaylen Brown is so much better this year than he was last year. And am I tripping?
No, you're not. But is he just better at everything he does? It's not like he did one thing. He didn't add one thing to his game. He's just across the board. He handles better. Handles not just the ball, but situations better, reads the defense better. I think he's defending better, right? Probably finishing in the break better, holding his line when he gets downhill. You saw him give that shoulder to Brad Beal. So he's just like, and he said this all along from day one since he's been here. I'm just going to keep working on my game and get better. I'm just going to keep doing. You guys are going to see. I'm just going to keep working, and I'm going to keep improving. He said it, and he did it, and he's doing it right now. And I agree with Eddie. He got the bag, and everyone can understand, you're lined up to get the big contract to become an all-NBA player. But even then, at that level, it is really hard to improve everything you do. There are other players that stop improving. So there are other players that start going down. Jaylen Brown continues to climb and get better at all aspects of his game.
Meanwhile, going to send it back out to the Garden where Abby Chin has Jrue Holiday.
A lot of narratives coming into this game. First one out of a road trip, the way you guys are playing. How elite is this group at blocking all of that stuff out? And what does a win like this say about this team?
I didn't hear him. I was trying to sleep and prepare for the game because of the road trip. I mean, you understand, you know how late we got in. So, honestly, it's about taking it a game at a time, focusing on ourselves and the things we have to do to accomplish winning this game, which we just played them. Figured that they'd play a little differently with Book, and we came out and executed that.
Yeah, Joe told me pregame, defensively it was going to take a lot of variety against them. How were you guys able to hold KD to 5 points after the first quarter?
It's kind of like what you said, throwing a lot at him. I don't think it was just one person. I think it was definitely a team effort, being able to kind of distract him in different ways and not really get the big into the switch when sometimes it's the guard. Joe's weird like that, but I just think doing it as a team effort, it's definitely more fun that way.
As a fellow elder statesman, what'd you think about Al Horford tonight? You okay with that?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Al was like, he's the OG, but he's probably the most reliable player that I ever played with. I think being able to be on the court with him is an honor, but being out there with him, I just know everything is going to go well. Every time he gets on the court, you just know he's going to do something great. So, big game from him. Started us off going crazy and super happy for the win.
Defensively, held Kevin Durant to 5 points after that first quarter. How did you guys do that and then largely hold their other big 2 inches?
I don't know how we did it. He torched us, just 4 games ago. So, credit to, JT, JB, Jrue, the guys that were guarding him, really just made it tough on him. I don't know that. That's impressive.
Speaking of 17 years later, I know we talked about it a little bit in Phoenix, but for both of you to be such integral parts of your team at this point, and, you tied your career high with 6 threes.
It's pretty special just because, a lot of years, in the league, seen a lot, played in a lot of games, and, Kevin, does a good job taking care of his body and still playing at a very, very high level, MVP type level. And for me is continuing to take care of myself the best way that I can, and it's pretty cool to see.
Do you feel like this is the best you've played overall in your career, just combining everything, most comfort that you've had on both ends?
Talking about like right now or what?
Yeah, like right now, say over the last month.
Yeah, I think this whole season. I just feel like I improved on a lot of the stuff that I needed to work on. I just overall just improved my mentality, but just attack my weaknesses. And I feel like some of the stuff that, you could say about me last year, you can't say about me this year. So I'm excited to go into the playoffs and keep it going and prove the same thing.
Is there anything specifically that drove you to improve, drove you to change the mindset? Yeah,
loss. When you lose, when you come up short, and on your home floor, when things don't go your way, it's a quote that I like. When things don't go your way, when you don't get what you want, what you got was experience. And I love that quote. And I think that, we've had losses, we've had embarrassment, we've had mistakes. And, I've used it all to just improve. We're all in this together, from the organization, from the coaching staff to the players. And I think that's what creates the environment. It's a respect level. There's no hierarchies. We all come together and come to work, and everybody comes to do their job. And Joe sets the tone with just coming and being, prepared first. He's diligent, and then, he allows us to be who we are. So we've been very well coached. We've been disciplined, and we haven't had so many lapses this season I feel like we've been a focused team, the smarter team, and some of that stuff, like, that's coaching that adds up.
The player development coaches, all the fans know Joe, what he brings to the table. They know Sam, they know Charles, but like Emile on the team, Craig, Ross. I mean, you saw the video that O'Shea posted of you guys golfing. Just what do those guys bring to the table on and off the court that fans don't really get to appreciate it?
Yeah, we got a great coaching staff. Obviously, you guys know the guys on the front of the bench and the guys on the back. Even the guys that stay in the locker room. Phil Pressey, Jermaine, all those guys. Just a younger group, but they're hungry. Our coaches work really, really hard to prepare us, with film and making sure we're going over the right things every day in practice or shoot around or whenever we can meet on the court. So we got a great group, great coaching staff.
Jayson, we were talking all year about Al. Obviously, he had a different role this year, and he's just been so steady. I mean, how much does that mean to you guys, and how much does that inspire you guys?
It means everything. I think we have so much love and respect for Al and the things that he's accomplished in this league, and we understand how valuable he is to our team. His presence on and off the court, his voice, the way that he goes about his job every single day, showing up, being there for us. The ultimate teammate and, somebody we're really lucky to have.
When do you have time to work on a children's book?
I don't get much sleep. I know that.
How does it feel to be an author?
Feels great. Something I'm really excited for that has been in the works for over a year and a half. So to finally be able to announce that yesterday and, eager for people to buy it and kids to be inspired all over the world.
So you contest Royce there at the end. What led you to do that, and what did you kind of see there that made you do that?
I saw a guy going in to try to get a shot, and he hadn't made one, and I didn't want him to feel good about himself going to the bench. Gary asked me about that a month ago, and that's the bench rule. Guys don't shoot shots in front of our bench to go back to their bench to feel good about themselves. If I'm going to ask the guys to contest, the staff's got to do the same.
Joe, going back to your contest on Royce, do you know what your percentage is for the year, for field goal percentage?
I don't know, but I don't.
When you do stuff like that, what kind of feedback have you gotten from the team about how that reinforces to them?
I'm not sure that they even know. They might know now, but I'm not sure they've known up until that point. But I think it's important. I think it's a small detail of the game. It's a little gamesmanship, but you can't have guys going back to the bench feeling good about themselves.
All right. Let's talk about that play right there. See, Scal's really into it there. With about 3 minutes to go in the game, Jaylen Brown gets the dunk, then Royce O'Neale. There's a timeout, so the play stopped, but Royce O'Neale's going to take a bonus shot anyways, and Joe Mazzulla goes up for the block shot, Scal. Here's the play.
Jaylen Brown into the crowd. There's the timeout. Look at Joe. Get that out of here.
Oh, here it is again.
Come on. Look at Joe. Yeah, that's right.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
That's right. That's a good contest.
I mean, you're there in person. Like, have you seen him do that before?
No. He said he did it one other time, but no, look at Joe. That's right. No easy one.
I don't think.
Go ahead.
Hey, Scal, I don't think I've ever seen a coach contest a shot.
No.
Ever. Not in a game situation like that, right? And it was a good contest. It looked like he was really, like, if he could block the shot, he would have blocked it if he could. He was just a count late to put a hand on the basketball. But, I mean, real talk, you got to love that if you're a player, though.
All right, so they've got a couple days off before they launch back into this. A couple of much-needed days off, too. After the long road trip, after getting back midweek at early hours. Part of the reason I liked this win tonight over the Suns so much was it felt like a mindset game, which Joe deserves a lot of credit for too. But finding a way when it would be easy to blame the schedule, when it would be easy to blame a motivated Suns team, they found a way to make sure they continued their high level of play and doing it without Kristaps Porzingis. Celtics next up, they're going to see one of Porzingis' old teams. They're heading down to the nation's capital for a Sunday evening tilt with the Washington Wizards, the lowly Washington Wizards. You feel pretty good about this. Celtics have shown well in those games already this season. Wizards stripped down their roster a little bit at the deadline. They also are going to be coming off a back-to-back. The Wizards play on Saturday night in Chicago, so they have to play an 8 o'clock game, Eastern time that night, fly back after the game, and be ready for the Celtics, the well-rested Celtics, on Sunday evening. That pretty much bodes well for the Celtics, who will have every opportunity to keep this momentum going. Celtics will be playing the front end of a back-to-back. They're back home on Monday night to play the Pistons, and we know what that last Pistons game was quite the adventure. So we'll see just how much the Celtics can continue to harness this momentum, how much they are trying to hit the accelerator on finishing up some of these final tasks, how much they're balancing the rest and all that comes with it. Especially, I think they played 5 games in 7 nights starting on with Sunday's game. So just if they want to pace themselves a little bit more, if they want to go full throttle, Milwaukee's looming midweek. I'm super intrigued to see how they play that one. But one step at a time. We'll be right back here with you on Sunday night on the POSTGAME pod. So go like, subscribe, check us out on the YouTube page. We'll catch you next time on the Celtics Talk Podcast.